You know what's terrifying? Watching someone you once chased start chasing you the moment you stopped caring. It's not magic, it's not luck, it's psychology. Here's what nobody tells you. The game of power isn't won by the loudest person in the room. It's won by the one who needs the room the least. While everyone else is performing, competing, explaining themselves into exhaustion, there's one person who sits back, observes, and somehow ends up controlling the entire dynamic without saying a word. That person understands something the rest don't. They've cracked a code that's been hidden in plain sight for over 500 years. Niccolò Machiavelli wrote The Prince in 1513, but he wasn't just writing about ruling kingdoms. He was writing about ruling yourself, about becoming the kind of person who commands respect not through force, but through presence. The shocking truth? Every relationship you've ever lost, every opportunity that slipped away, every moment you felt invisible, it wasn't because you weren't good enough. It was because you were too accessible. You were the open book in a world that only values mysteries, the eager student in a classroom that only respects the silent genius, the pursuer in a game where only the pursued hold power. Think about it. Who gets your attention more? The person who texts you every hour or the one who takes 3 days to reply? Who intrigues you more? The friend who tells you everything or the one who keeps their cards close to their chest? Today, you'll learn 10 ruthless lessons that will fundamentally change how the world perceives you, not through aggression, not through manipulation, but through the quiet mastery of your own presence. To ensure you don't miss any part of this video, hit the subscribe button. The hidden pain. There is a kind of pain most people never speak about, not because it's small, but because it's humiliating. It's the pain of being too available and still ignored. The pain of doing everything right and still being treated like an option. The pain of showing up fully, vulnerably, sincerely, only to be met with silence, rejection, or worse, manipulation. No one teaches you what to do when your kindness becomes your weakness, when your calm becomes invisible, when your love becomes a burden they no longer appreciate. So you start questioning everything, your worth, your dignity, your instincts. You wonder, was I too much? Or was I simply too easy to get? There is no louder heartbreak than the kind that happens quietly, no deeper betrayal than the kind you keep to yourself. And that's what makes this pain so dangerous. It doesn't scream, it simmers. It shapes how you walk through the world. You stop trusting your own emotions. You start second-guessing every moment of honesty. You put a leash on your truth, not because it's wrong, but because it was once punished. That's how self-doubt is born, not through failure, but through repeated invalidation. You gave too much too early. You tried to explain your worth instead of letting it speak for itself. You kept proving, hoping, reaching, and all they saw was need. All they felt was control. Because in this world, the moment they sense you need them, they stop needing you. Lesson 1. Mystery equals power. Predictability equals control. Everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you really are. Strip this down to its raw form. Society doesn't reward sincerity, it rewards strategy. In every room, the person who speaks less holds more power. The one who seems like they don't care gets pursued. The one who reacts the least gets respected the most. Why? Because in the psychological landscape of human behavior, mystery equals power, predictability equals control. You gave your attention easily. When you forgave without boundaries, you taught them their pain had no price. When you kept showing up even when they disrespected you, you taught them they never had to earn you. This world doesn't teach emotional discipline. It teaches emotional performance. Smile, bend, be available, be open, until the moment you're no longer useful. Then vanish. We live in an age where silence is feared, but noise is exploited. And the most painful part? They didn't walk away because they didn't care. They walked away because they thought you never would. Stop being an open book. Make your presence feel earned, not by being arrogant, but by being selective. You don't owe everyone your story, your attention, or your reaction. Power is not how much you feel, it's how much you choose to show. Lesson 2. It's better to be feared than loved. Since love and fear can hardly exist together, if we must choose between them, it is far safer to be feared than loved. This is Machiavelli's most misunderstood principle, and it still echoes today, not because he advocated cruelty, but because he understood human nature. Love can be taken for granted, fear creates boundaries, and boundaries create order. In today's world, that principle still applies, but the battlefield has changed. Now it's not about swords or thrones, it's about presence, perception, psychological gravity. You believed that love would fix dysfunction. You thought if you just loved them better, they would treat you better. You made excuses for their chaos. You confused patience with healing. But here's what Machiavelli understood. Some people use your loyalty like a leash because they know you won't leave. Stop loving harder. Start leaving sooner. Respect isn't earned through love. It's commanded through consequence. This doesn't mean becoming heartless. It means caring with strategy. It means understanding that when you stop explaining, when you stop reacting, when you stop being predictable, you become untouchable. Why? Because people fear what they can't understand. They follow what they can't manipulate. They obsess over what refuses to chase them. That isn't arrogance. That's design. That's sovereignty.
Lesson 3. Never explain your worth. The promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present. Every explanation weakens your position. Every justification diminishes your authority. Power doesn't justify itself. It exists and forces others to adjust. You kept proving, justifying, convincing. You thought your honesty would make them understand. But in this world, the more you explain, the less they listen. You tried to earn respect with love, but they respected what you didn't give away. You tried to gain closeness by opening up, but they only value what they have to work for. They didn't hurt you by accident. They hurt you because they could, because you let them believe you'd stay no matter what, because you responded every time, because you never let them feel the weight of losing you. Stop selling. Start observing. If they can't see your value, walk. Your worth isn't a debate, it's a declaration. Power doesn't beg. It doesn't explain. It doesn't chase. It's felt in your silence, in your absence, in your refusal to be moved by anything that does not honor your value. The more you explain, the less they listen. Let your silence do the speaking. Let your distance create the respect that your presence never could. Lesson 4. Control access like a fortress. A wise ruler ought never to keep faith when, by doing so, it would be against his interests. Your attention is not cheap. Your time is not unlimited. Your energy is not up for auction. Being available to every message, giving instant replies, rewarding inconsistency with immediate attention. You don't have to be available to every message. You don't owe anyone your instant reply. You don't need to explain your silence. People who are used to your constant access will call your boundaries cold. Let them. True power begins where availability ends. Control access like a fortress. Not everyone deserves entry to your inner world. You don't attend every argument. You don't reply to every provocation. You don't defend yourself to people who never listened. Your silence creates friction. Let them sit in it. Make your presence feel earned again, not by being arrogant, but by being selective. Because if you don't control your access, someone else will control your worth. This is not emotional suppression, it's emotional sovereignty. You are no longer just reacting. You are redirecting, refining, restricting. Not because you're weak, but because your power is too valuable to bleed into the wrong hands. Lesson 5. Timing is everything. The wise ruler doesn't move at the speed of the crowd. He watches, he waits, he strikes when the moment has weight. Stop showing up immediately. Stop rewarding inconsistency with immediate attention. Stop giving urgency to those who treat you like an option. Confusing presence with peace. You stayed. You endured. You told yourself that tolerating pain made you strong. But strength isn't about staying where your soul is shrinking. That's not peace, that's survival. And survival is not power. Master the timing of your presence. Learn to protect your peace even if it costs you the connection. Machiavelli taught that a leader must appear composed even in chaos. He must hide his intentions. He must never let his enemies see him sweat. In modern life, you must become that kind of leader, not of nations, but of your own nervous system. You master your impulse. You train your tone. You become unreadable, not to deceive, but to protect your inner world from those who've never earned access to it. React with precision, not emotion. When they raise their voice, you lower yours. When they insult, you stare. When they provoke, you smile and say nothing. Your absence will say more than your words ever could. Lesson 6. Use silence as a weapon. In a world addicted to noise, the quiet one holds power. Silence isn't absence, it's strategy. Thinking emotional honesty is always strength. You were told that vulnerability is power, that openness builds connection. But timing matters, so does context. There is no strength in bleeding before those who don't care. No victory in handing your soul to someone who never earned the right to hold it. Machiavelli didn't say don't feel. He said don't reveal unless it's a weapon. Let them be predictable. Let them reveal themselves. You remain a mirror, polished, silent, reflective, and let them see their own chaos in your stillness. This is emotional architecture. You are building something inside yourself that no one else can enter. A structure where peace is king, where urgency is the enemy, where silence is sacred. Because when you stop reacting to the world starts reacting to you. Silence isn't weakness, it's warfare. Lesson 7. Become untouchable through detachment. He who wishes to be obeyed must know how to command. The world doesn't respond to your intentions, it responds to your presence. You must seem composed even in chaos. Making excuses for disrespect. They were tired. They had a hard life. They didn't mean it. You rewrote their cruelty so many times you forgot how it actually felt. Here's the truth. Anyone who consistently disrespects you knows exactly what they're doing. They're just confident you'll forgive them again. Make them wrong. Stop tolerating it. Disappear without drama. Command yourself first. Everything else follows. You are no longer the performer begging for a seat on someone else's stage. You are the one who controls the emotional theater, not by stepping into every scene, but by choosing which ones deserve your entrance. When you stop flinching, they start doubting. When you stop chasing, they start craving. When you stop speaking, every word becomes gold. This isn't about becoming cold, it's about becoming calm, solid, strategic, and unshakable. You will still feel deeply, but now you will not hand those feelings to people who haven't earned them. That is where your power begins.
Lesson 8. Master the art of strategic withdrawal. The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps and a lion to frighten wolves. Know when to be the fox, strategic and elusive. Know when to be the lion, powerful and direct. This is the art of strategic positioning. Waiting for closure from those who created the wound. You wanted them to admit it, to give you that final word. But here's the brutal truth. People who break you rarely give you clarity, and waiting for it keeps you enslaved to their silence. You don't need their closure. Close the door yourself. Walk away not to punish, but to protect your peace. Withdraw without announcement. Disappear without drama. Let your distance speak. Let your silence correct the disrespect. You don't warn them. You don't beg them. You don't perform closure. You just stop bleeding for people who never tried to stop the wound. Your distance speaks louder than your words. Use absence as a weapon, not for revenge, but for respect. because sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is nothing at all. This is emotional sovereignty, to feel everything but show nothing, to care deeply but chase no one, to know your worth so completely that even when it's misunderstood, you do not shrink. Lesson 9. Never reveal your full strength. Never was anything great achieved without danger. The moment they see your full hand, they know how to play against you. Keep your true power hidden until you need it. Showing all your cards too early, being completely transparent about your feelings, plans, and capabilities. You let them see everything, and in a Machiavellian world, what is fully seen is rarely valued. Maintain strategic ambiguity. They should never be certain what you're capable of. Let them underestimate you while you quietly build your empire. The dangerous ones are those whose limits remain unknown. This doesn't mean being deceptive. It means being selective about what you reveal and when. It means understanding that mystery creates magnetism, while predictability breeds contempt. Your true strength lies not in what they can see, but in what they can sense but never quite grasp. Like an iceberg, let them see only the tip, while the real mass of your power remains hidden beneath the surface. When you do reveal your capabilities, let it be decisive. Let it be final. Let it be so complete that they never dare to test those boundaries again. Lesson 10. Become the storm's eye. In the midst of chaos, there is also opportunity. While others panic, you remain calm. While others react, you respond. While others break, you bend and spring back stronger. Matching their energy, getting pulled into their chaos, fighting fire with fire. You thought engaging with their dysfunction would somehow fix it. Don't become the storm, become its center. Calm, controlled, unmoved. When everything around you is chaos, your stillness becomes your strength. They don't fear your rage, they fear your composure. This is the ultimate Machiavellian principle. In a world that rewards the loudest voice, the quietest person controls the room. In a culture that celebrates reaction, the person who doesn't flinch holds all the cards. You don't need to raise your voice. You don't need to convince anyone. You don't need to be seen, understood, or accepted. Because the moment you begin chasing perception, you lose control of it. Let them wonder. Let them misread you. Let them fill the silence with their own assumptions. You are no longer here to play defense. You are the eye of every storm, untouchable, unmoved, and absolutely unbreakable. The transformation. You are no longer the one chasing validation. You choose where your energy flows. You are no longer waiting to be picked. You decide what gets access to you. You are no longer begging to be seen. You disappear with dignity. This is the death of the needy self, the self that begged, over-explained, stayed too long hoping they'd notice your worth. In its place, you build something new, something calm, something deliberate, something dangerous. You don't win by explaining yourself better. You win by becoming unreadable, by letting your energy, not your words, do the speaking, by letting your silence say what your voice no longer needs to. Stop narrating your pain. Start mastering your presence. Because the less you reveal, the more control you keep. And every reaction you give is leverage they didn't earn. This is emotional sovereignty, to feel everything but show nothing, to care deeply but chase no one, to know your worth so completely that even when it's misunderstood, you do not shrink. Your new operating system. From this moment forward, you operate under new rules. Rule 1. Control access like a fortress. Your attention is not cheap. Your time is not unlimited. Your energy is not up for auction. Make your presence feel earned. Rule 2. Master the timing of your presence.
Stop showing up immediately. Stop rewarding inconsistency with instant attention. Let your absence create the value your presence couldn't. Rule 3. Speak like a sword, not a river. Make every sentence sound like a decision, not a plea. Never explain when silence says more. Never justify what needs no approval. Rule 4. Respond with precision, not emotion. They raise their voice, you lower yours. They insult, you stare. They provoke, you smile and say nothing. Let them be predictable, while you remain unreadable. Rule 5. Become a mirror they can't read. You're not unreadable because you fake it. You're unreadable because you've done the inner work, the shadow work, the discipline. That's presence. That's psychological gravity. Rule 6. Use absence as your weapon. Walk away not to punish, but to protect your peace. Withdraw without announcement. Disappear without drama. Let your distance speak. Let your silence correct the disrespect. You don't warn them. You don't beg them. You don't perform closure. You're not pretending. You're remembering. Remember who you were before the world taught you to beg for love. Before you were trained to confuse access with value. Before silence was mistaken for invisibility. The new you. What does true power look like? Not the version they show you in movies, not the loud, aggressive masculine illusion, and not the passive, overly forgiving saint either. The new face of power is quiet, present, precise, and deeply unfazed. The powerful person doesn't perform confidence. They don't shout to prove control. They don't hide behind charm. They don't weaponize vulnerability to appear authentic. They simply exist in full command of their gravity. They don't seek to be liked. They're driven by something sharper, to be unmoved. They can love you and still walk away. They can listen and still not agree. They can feel deeply and show absolutely nothing. Because they've realized being understood is optional. Being respected is essential. They don't explain their silence, they let it hang. They don't warn you when they're done, they just leave. And when they leave, you feel it. Not because they slam the door, but because their absence echoes. They don't seek revenge, they outgrow. They don't argue, they decide. They don't say, "I'll show you." They let time do the talking. This is the face of power Machiavelli envisioned. Not the tyrant, not the king, but the person so composed that others question themselves in their presence. Because real dominance is not in how many people you control. It's in how few people can control you. Your declaration. From this moment on, you do not over-explain, you do not overshare, you do not overstay. You leave when it's time, you observe more than you engage. You protect your peace like a king guards his kingdom. You are not looking for power, you are becoming it, quietly, completely, without asking. You no longer warn people, you simply walk away. You no longer argue to be understood. You let silence make them nervous. And the next time the world demands a reaction from you, don't give it. Hold the tension. Let your quiet carry the weight. Because when you stop flinching, they start doubting. When you stop chasing, they start craving. When you stop speaking, every word becomes gold. You are not cold, you are controlled. You are not distant, you are deliberate. You are not heartless, you are sovereign. That is how legends move.